Minister, I know we've spoken before about Robert Pther, and I know you answered some questions about Robert Pther, I think asked by, I think it was Senator Patterson. But I have been in continuing communication with his wife Desiree, and it's really on her behalf that I'm asking these questions. Are you aware of the medical reports DFAT has received, very alarming psychologist report and the melanoma report in relation to Mr Pther?
Senator, thank you for your question. Look, out of respect to Mr Pther's privacy in this forum, I would not go into details about his health.
Have you received medical reports in relation to Mr Pther in the last 20 weeks?
Senator, I think you made the point in relation to other matters, that, how careful we have to be about disclosing any medical information. I think I made comments in February about Mr Pther's case. I want to acknowledge the immense toll that his detention and travel ban has on him and his family. I've publicly called on the Iraqi government to lift his travel ban on humanitarian grounds and in recognition of our long-standing bilateral relationship, and I make that call again today. And I make that call with more urgency, given concerns for his health and the length of time that he has spent away from his family.
Minister, we have touched upon this before, but at the centre of why Robert Pther is being held in this most unjust situation in Iraq is the officials associated with the Iraqi Central Bank continue to make utterly unsubstantiated claims of demands of some $12 million against him and a co-worker. And I'm advised that whilst those claims had gone into abeyance at the time that Robert was released from custody in Iraq, but still prohibited from leaving Iraq, I'm told that the Iraqi Central Bank placed those demands again on the table in interactions with Australian officials earlier this year. Is that the case? Have they reasserted those demands?
I think you were briefed on Mr Pther's case. I'm very reluctant, given that the sensitivity of these matters, to go into these sorts of details in this public forum.
Well, to be clear...
So I'm just, you know, well, you may say, you know, whatever Mrs Pther wants, but I have an obligation to also try... We have obligations about trying to conduct this consular set of representations in the most professional way possible. So I'm not going to... the normal officials go through chapter and verse of who is saying what to whom.
Well, I want to be
wouldn't
clear.
Expect us to.
No, I want to be clear that I appreciated the briefing, but I want to also be clear that everything I'm putting to you, I have received through Robert's wife, and I'm grateful for her diligence and obviously her deep love and continuing love for Robert. But everything I'm putting to you, I've received from that source. The one point of real, genuine pressure that the government can exert over Iraq is actually directly associated with the Iraq Central Bank. We continue to provide funding for the Iraq Central Bank, and yet at the same time it's the Iraq Central Bank and officials with it who are making these unsubstantiated demands against Robert Pther, an Australian citizen who is in desperate health situations. And I ask on behalf of Desiree, why will the government now not revisit this situation and say to Iraq, if you want us to continue to provide these fundings, release Robert, let him return home? Because, I mean, I'm sure you can understand this from a lifetime partner's perspective. When her government is funding the very institution that is unfairly keeping her husband in a foreign country like this, you must understand Desiree's position.
Well, we continue to advocate on this very long-running and difficult case with Iraq.
Well, but my question was about, will you put a timetable on withdrawing the funding, reducing the funding to the Iraqi Central Bank that Australia is giving? We are literally funding the very institution that is at the core of why Robert is in this appalling situation in Iraq. Why not use that as a lever?
Sorry, Senator. This is assistance to counter financing for terrorism and transnational crime. Okay, so this is not some gift. This is support for countering and combating the financing of terrorism and transnational crime. So I'm sorry, but that funding is provided for Australia's interests, because we think we should work with other countries to counter financing for terrorism. So you can put that to us. The position is we're traversing exactly the same ground, I think, as... Thank you. Ms McGregor can probably do more, because I thought we'd just traversed this at the last estimates, and I don't propose to do it again.
Well, but yes, that was the position put.
It's not
no.
Please don't say that. It's not the position.
It is a position.
No, it is the facts.
It's your political position that
excuse me.
because of the importance of it, you say...
No.
Let me just finish my question, Minister.
Senator, can we at least agree? It is a fact that the funding is about counter-terrorism and, what was it, transnational crime.
Yeah.
Whether you say that is reasonable or not is a position.
No.
Those are facts. Let's not
I'll tell you the other fact.
Sorry, can I just finish? You're not entitled to your own facts.
Well, indeed, and nor are you entitled to your own facts.
No, but I'm telling you what the facts are.
But I'll tell you another fact. Another fact, and
This
it's
is the Shoebridge universe again.
It's another fact. It's the Wong universe that I'm confronting. Another fact is that the institution we're funding is the Iraqi Central Bank, and it's that institution that is making grossly unsubstantiated claims of $12 million shakedown claims against an Australian citizen, which means he can't leave the country. His health is grossly deteriorating. He may die in Iraq. So yes, you're providing funding to that institution for that purpose. But my question is about that institution itself. That is a fact. You may want to talk about half the facts, but I want to talk about all the facts.